Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Tuesday at 7:30, so you know what that means. Carson here with another Tuesday night live stream every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Couldn't wait. Decided to hit the start button 1 minute early to see what happens here. So just glad to have everybody in the chat once again. It looks like we've already got Poor Man's Comics. He says third, even though I see him first on my screen. So there you go. Close enough, I guess. We got Fish Tropic, my first subscriber ever. How's it going, Fish? We got Chad90 MF Comics. He says, what's going on? And we also have JD in the chat. How's it going, JD? And then we got Gomez. What is going on, Gomez? And Amazing Murphidator. So everyone's hopping in here. So great to see everyone joining at 7:30 right on the dot. All right. So like I usually do on this show, as the room fills up and all that good stuff, I'll just show you guys what I picked up last week and what I read. And then we'll get into a topic. And actually, I got an A-OK to show tonight. I've got an auction preview for JP's auction tomorrow. So we got a little bit to talk about today. Oh, and half-price books. They came through once again last week. So there was one thing in my pull box last week that I actually had originally that, I usually read. And that was Ice Cream Man #9. So this issue honestly was a little bit off to me. I think I said it on the Comic Core because literally it was the only thing I actually pulled to read last week. They tried to come up with this crazy origin for the Ice Cream Man, and if you see this like cowboy-looking character right here, he's actually popped up in a lot of the previous issues of Ice Cream Man. So you kind of find out they're more or less family, and the Ice Cream Man screwed him over royally in the long distant past. So it's kind of like if you were watching Tales from the Crypt and actually spent an episode giving the Crypt Keeper an origin story. So that's kind of like what this issue of Ice Cream Man represents. Whereas the previous 8 issues were just kind of like an anthology horror series that was self-contained, with these two kind of bickering very rarely. So, and like I said, a little bit off, but nonetheless, it's still a solid read if you're an Ice Cream Man completionist, I guess. And before I continue, I do want to say what is going on to the Slab Dragon TJ Watson. Glad to see you in the chat. I had a lot of variant pulls last week too. I actually went out of town, did a little bit of picking at a couple other stores, just to see what they had. And my store around here doesn't get a lot of B covers, so I definitely took the opportunity to buy some of these nice B covers I've been seeing on a lot of other people's streams recently. So we'll start. I know this is one of Bueller's favorites from last week. He was showing this off on the Comic Core. We got Batgirl #31, Art Germ variant. So I know everybody loves him some Batgirl Art Germs. So there's one of his 2 variants I got, and the other one. Sorry, I'm fighting a little bit of a cough here, so I'm going to keep trucking through it. I got all the other Supergirl Art Germs, so I definitely had to hunt down Supergirl 26 with Streaky the Super Cat there. So definitely enjoyed that. But I think I almost prefer this one over the Batgirl. They're both really good in my opinion, but I definitely like both those covers. This next one, I spent $8 on it. It was cover price for some reason. But if you guys know me, I like me some wrestling, so I definitely had to get like this Where's Waldo-esque WWE Forever cover. And whoever this artist is, he tried his darndest to get every single current roster superstar on this cover. So I definitely respect the fact that on the bottom there he put in the 205 Live guys. So definitely shout out to my boy Drew Gulak. So happy to see he made a comic book cover, and he pretty much got like all my other boys. Like there's Chad Gable, the B Team, there's the Drake Maverick, Cedric Alexander. I think even Buddy Murphy made the cover. So I thought this was really, and it's a wraparound too. So if you see a wrestler that's your favorite that's not on this cover, odds are they're probably on the back of the cover. So I thought this was really awesome. So I had to have that. Here's this one Wonder Woman. Everyone was talking up last week. So I got Wonder Woman issue 63. My store had one copy of the B cover left. And of all the stores I hit last week, this is the only copy of this I saw anywhere. Even the store that had a bunch of extra covers by Thursday, this was gone. But just a very cool Wonder Woman cover. Just looks different than your normal DC B cover. So definitely appreciate that. So happy to add that in the collection. And while I was out and about, I definitely I'm trying to get the backlog of Immortal Hulk filled up because I just started reading at 12. I thought 12 was the start of a new storyline when it was actually 11. I figured why not? They had issue 10 first printing there, so I got those. But that was all they had. Like none of the other stores had any Immortal Hulk at all, except for actually I don't think any of the issue 12s were left over, and that came out like what? Not this week, but the previous week. So definitely happy to scoop these up because these are not a lot of Immortal Hulks being ordered. It seems like at a lot of these stores, and people are really picking up on how good the story is. So happy to have those. I'm hoping there's a hardcover soon, so I can get issues 1 through 10 in a hardcover because I'm not tracking down all those other ones for like $5 to $10 a piece. I would prefer not to pay more than cover, obviously. So that's pretty much all of my main current pulls I got last week. Let's get back to the chat because we got a lot more people hopping in. We got Mo. He says, "What's going on?" So happy to have Mo in the chat. We've got Stay Puff 1983 says, "Even though that WWE book is an $8 book, Boom has quality cover stock and paper." I absolutely agree. I almost just thought about putting the WWE books on my pull list just because, like you said, that they look very nice. They present well. Boom spares no expense, unlike your current Marvel stuff in terms of paper stock. So they look very nice. And if you can get those variant covers, they got some nice ones of the wrestlers too. That's for sure. We got my pal from the Comic Core chat. We got Mastodon Comics and Collecting. What's going on, Don? Glad you can make it into the chat tonight. We also have Count Von Strange the Fourth. We got Ruben Nieves. What is going on, Ruben? We got Big Lion Cat 646. Hopefully Lenny's watching along with them tonight. They're quite the pair, especially in the auction scene on Saturday nights. So happy to see those guys in the chat. We got Midwest Comic Man Paul. He's in the chat. He says, "See Wood in the house," just like, oh, Gulak's in the house. We got, once again, looks like Poor Man's Comics came back. Looks like they're trading some packages. And then we got Steven Spock in the chat. He says, "Good day." So what is going on, Steve and Spock? So I need to put his... Oh, I just been discovered by Discovery Baked Comics. Thank God. What is going on, JB? Glad you could make it. I like the new greeting you put in the chat now. But I need to put a Comic Spectre's link down below. So if you guys haven't subbed up to Comic Spectre already, definitely make sure you do. He sent me this AOK, and I don't even know why he sent me another AOK. He just sent me one for my birthday, but I think he was watching one of my previous live streams and heard I didn't get the Shredder and Hell book. So I guess he was just like, I need to send him a copy, but I'm not going to just send him any copy. I'm going to get one of those nice variants and send him. And that's what Comic Spectre did. Like, holy crap, look at this cover. We got a Clayton Crane. It says on the back, this is TMNT Shredder and Hell Creighton Crane exclusive variant, limited to 500 copies. So holy crap, thank you so much, Comic Spectre. I am so happy to get this. This is awesome. I definitely owe him something back, so I need to watch his backlog of videos and see what he collects, see what he's looking for, so I can get the right thing to return to him, because this is awesome. Like I like me some Clayton Crane. You guys know how much I love his X-Force run and his other covers he's done. Not the fact that, hey, I kind of like the Turtles too, as you guys probably noticed. So, but man, hey, Clayton Crane just knocked it out of the park on this cover. So very amazing. Happy. I was probably going to go on the wall. I may just say screw it and get this graded at some point, since it was a nice gift. But yeah, big thanks to Comic Spectre. I do also have the IDW limited Kevin Eastman one on the way because I didn't know he was sending this. So I'm like, I may as well order one nice one. I guess that one's already sold out too, and I don't know if IDW has begun shipping those because I haven't received any like shipping confirmation or anything. I haven't seen any fly up on eBay either, so I'm assuming they just did a pre-order type thing and it'll be shipped out once they're all printed. But nonetheless, this is an amazing cover. So big thanks to Comic Spectre. Heck of an AOK. There he is. So click Comic Spectre and please sub him up. Once the show's over, I'll remember to put his link down below because this is one heck of an AOK. But yeah, this is awesome, man. Thank you so much. I definitely need to hit Comic Spectre back with something for this because this is amazing. That's one of the, maybe so far, my variant cover of the year. Oh man, it's so good. So very happy with that. I said, sir, I'm trying to stave off a cough and host a live show at the same time. So apologize for the extra sips of water I'm going to have to take. And going back to what I read last week, I actually was firing up the DC streaming service to hopefully watch some Young Justice, which I'm really behind on at this point. But I noticed they added a certain book to my iPad that I could basically read for no extra charge on there. So instead of having to whip these books out, I read it on my iPad. But hey, I decided for the sake of the show, I'm going to go ahead and take the books out now. I binge read Infinite Crisis on my day off the other day when I didn't feel like moving or getting out of my chair, and I just had this like weird, like it almost felt like a con funk Sunday afternoon. That's why my one video didn't come out until Monday, which I'll talk about that video shortly. But nonetheless, I actually ended up reading Infinite Crisis. So I'll just show off the covers real quick as I talk about it. Which, by the way, most of my run is the Perez stuff because, you know, Perez is my favorite artist of all time. Jim Lee, obviously, his stuff's beautiful too. I actually got this in a dollar bin a few months back. That's the only reason I have that. But nonetheless, I prefer Perez, so I have all the Perez stuff from this. But nonetheless, I mean, because I was just talking to a couple guys in the Comic Core just on an off-air hangout about like just books we looked forward to so much. We had to get to the store on Wednesday, and then maybe even like if we're excited to see what was going on in the store, you just read them in your car. And for me, the first story that came to mind for me was Infinite Crisis. So I kind of plan to reread it again, just to be excited about a comic book, basically. Because I'll be honest, right now there's not tons of current stuff I'm that excited to drive to the store on Wednesday and read. But when Infinite Crisis was coming out in '05 and '06, I was just blown away like each month. And I was like, yeah, this is my Crisis basically. Because my favorite story of all time is Crisis on Infinite Earths. Um, just because when I was a kid, that's the story I read to get to know the entire DC universe. So I had to read it a few times to really get into it. And then, of course, there was Zero Hour in the '90s, but who counts Zero Hour for anything? It was okay. Yeah, Dan Jurgens. But anyway, I felt like Infinite Crisis was a true sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, even though it was, 20 some odd years later. But man, I just remember reading this at the time, just being blown away by each issue. I think this is technically the first appearance of the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, by the way. If you guys are looking for a spec book, here you go. But anyway, if you guys aren't familiar with this story, basically, spoilers, by the way, some pretty major spoilers in my opinion. It starts off just the DC universe is just screwed. Like Rand and Thanagar, they're going to war with each other because one of the other planets are all of a sudden next to each other. The Spectre and the Magic Realm, they're just all jacked up now because someone's been messing with the Spectre's head. So he's just randomly killing other magic users and turning the magic force into just raw, pure power to be harnessed in the DC universe. And then all the villains are teaming up on top of it. So Lex Luthor has gotten all the villains together and they're basically doing anything at his whim. So you have all this other stuff going on. On top of that, Wonder Woman has killed Maxwell Lord because Maxwell Lord, he's just going up against all the heroes now. If you guys read Countdown Infinite Crisis, Blue Beetle, he was gone too soon, obviously. Ted Kord, that is one of the most underrated characters they had. They gave him one great story and killed him off in that same story. So Wonder Woman kills Maxwell Lord because he gained control of Superman using his telekinetic powers. So really, the DC. Oh, and then the OMACs too. Batman created the OMAC project just in case any of the other heroes went rogue, and then that whole program went rogue and started taking over people. And yeah, there's the Trinity of the DC universe is just a mess. Like Martian Manhunter's missing. A lot of people are going up missing. You come to find out Alexander Luthor from the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline is the one pulling all the strings in the background. And he also has another ally, that whiny little brat Superboy Prime has been encaged with these people for 20 years. So he's just been dying to get out and punch Connor Kent in the face for doing nothing. And if you guys don't know, Connor Kent, like I said, there's a lot going on in these Infinite Crisis crossover storylines, but if you follow them all, it's extremely rewarding in my opinion. So Connor Kent was benched himself at the time because he's being controlled by Lex Luthor, because he was a clone of Lex Luthor, and Lex put something in his brain so he could control him. So you have all this stuff going on, and basically what Alexander Luthor's trying to do is he wants out of this basically prison he's created for himself, this heaven he's made for the Earth 2 Superman and Lois Lane, and he wants to be God basically. So they're using all kinds of anti-monitor technology and antimatter to, bend the new multiverse at their whim, because basically they're creating new planets, merging them together, and all this stuff. So as you can see, this cover kind of personifies everything going on. By the way, there's a Jeff Johns signature right there if you guys didn't notice. But the DC universe is just very fractured. But my favorite issue is this one. That's why I'm still holding it up, because the plan is about to come together for Luthor and Prime. But who comes together? You get the team of Nightwing, you get Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark, and you get Connor Kent, Superboy, and they're the only ones left standing against that team. So what happens is Connor and Prime, they get in a fight, and then Connor, he gets wrecked. I mean, obviously, because Superboy Prime, if you guys don't know, he's as strong as the Silver Age Superman. Silver Age Superman is probably the most overpowered Superman version of all time, besides one of those crazy Morrison 1 million ones. And he has like this little dark matter machine that generates sunlight and pumps it right into him. So Superboy Prime he's extremely more powerful. But what Superboy does, he throws him through the anti-monitor, anti-gravity, whatever you want to call it, machine, and just destroys their plan entirely. But unfortunately, in the process, he ends up it cost him his life. So you get to see, the Trinity. Tim Drake shows up just in time. Wonder Girl's a mess, and then Nightwing's there. At least he's kind of got a level head because he's Nightwing. And you got to get that last moment where it just says touchdown at the bottom of the last splash page, and he's sitting there, just all ruined and dead basically. So one of my favorite comics, period, is right here. So I definitely want to read this whole run again. And then you get issue 7. It's kind of just almost the wrap up. The villains decide to go rogue. They want to take over Metropolis because they've decided if Metropolis falls, which is Superman's city, everything else is going to fall after that. And then, after the whole mess that Alexander Luthor's created, it's a battle royal basically. Even I think it's Alexander Luthor says it best. He's like, I can't tell hero from villain on this world anymore. So none of these people deserve to live. And I think the other classic line, and I didn't even remember it until I reread it yesterday. And I think it's Batman. He's just like, why are you doing this? You seem like, from what I've heard, you were a good person to the Earth 2 Superman and Lois Lane. And he goes, unfortunately, every Luthor ends up being, the sole hero in a world of villains. And I thought that was an extremely powerful line. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I've gotten just immerse myself that much into reading just one story. So in my opinion, Infinite Crisis holds up extremely well. Still a crisis for my generation, I guess. Even though I guess with the New 52 and Rebirth, that's all been passed by at this point. But I still like going back to that mid-2000s era, where you had, Johns and Dan DiDio and all that, really firing on all cylinders in DC. So really fun to read that. But I got to apologize because it's been way too long since I got back into the chat. And I see I got to type at least one person's name in here, like tradition. So there we go. All right, but I got to scroll up and say hello to who I missed. We got Samantha Branch in the chat. How's it going, Samantha? Glad you could make it. We got Liking the Covers 4963. Let's see who else we got. We got Bad Dad 320 in the house. He just put out a cool video showing some EC comics. So check, if you guys like the horror comics, check out Bad Dad's last video. So he had a lot of nice books he was showing. And we got Mr. Mailman, Mr. Media Mail himself, Jason Smith. What's going on, Jason? I feel like I haven't seen you for a minute. So good to see you in the chat. We got Comics Misexplained. How's it going? Let's see who else we got. We got Mr. Garrell. He says he's homesick, so get well, Mr. Garrell. Hopefully you get better soon. And let's see. I think I saw one more person. We got David from Beyond the Blast Doors in the chat. How's it going? He's been debuting his videos all week long, so check out Beyond the Blast Doors for some of the best Star Wars content. And keep those notifications because he's literally been premiering videos every single day. We got Brett Hessart. I say it once a week. I'll say it again. Check out his Instagram. He's got some phenomenal art and art prints on sale on his website. We got Tacoma Comics. I think he'll be joining me tomorrow on All About Comics channel for the auction. I'll get into more on that later too. And then we got the uncanny Kyle Walk. I spent a little bit of my afternoon chatting with him and Evan. They were a lot of fun to talk to in a Google Hangout today. So hopefully you're still doing good, Kyle. All right, so we'll go ahead next and we'll get into the half price books pickups. And Tacoma says, yep, he will be at that auction. Sweet. All right, so I got this nice, healthy stack of books at half price books. When I was going to that store in Greenwood, I always go to the half price books as well. Unfortunately, they don't have the outlet store prices, so I have to pay $1.50 instead of $1. So, you know, an extra 50 cents a book. I know, it's throwing around money, I guess. But nonetheless, I think for $1.50 a book, I got some pretty quality finds. So here's another one of my all-time favorite reads. This is All-Star Superman issue 6. If you guys want to see me talk about this book, I talked about it pretty in detail in the Comic Core. This is actually my pick of the week last week because I found it last week and read it, and I liked it obviously better than Ice Cream Man, which was my only other read last week. But just a phenomenal single issue. This whole 12-issue run's really good. But if you just pick one issue from it, I might suggest this one over the other 12. They're all good, but this one is the standout in my opinion. I'm glad David from Beyond the Blast Doors joined us. I think he'll enjoy this Star Wars issue number 10 I found for $1.50. And then it looks like that's one of those newsstands. So there you go. I don't see these in the wild too often, especially within the first 10, the 35 center. So I think just because of the rough condition on it, they just threw $1.50 on it to get it out of the store. So I thought that was awfully nice. To complement my Amazing Spider-Man 252 newsstand, I found a Spider-Man 253, so I figured why not go ahead and get a 253 as well to continue that run in the 250s. I'm also working on the 300s in that run. We got Amazing Spider-Man 382 with that cool Hulk cover, but gotta love me some Mark Bagley art, so always like seeing that. See how shiny this one's going to be. Woo, 90s of 5. I love it. We got a Web of Spider-Man 100. I think this is technically the first appearance of the Spider armor or something like that. But for $1.50, been waiting to get this book for the right price. I was hoping to get it a dollar bit eventually, but hey, $1.50 is close enough for me. It's a little ticked off on the side, but hey, it still looks nice. Love that green glow. We got Amazing Spidey 183. Once again, every time I see these older Spider-Mans now, like especially if you're talking like 250 and under, anything like $2 or less, it's like an automatic pickup for me because people they pay anything for old Spidey anymore. So I know if nothing else, if I ever for whatever reason have to get rid of this book, it'll be very easy to do so. But hey, it's gonna stay in the collection. Sorry. Next up, we got Superman, the Man of Steel 119, Joker's Last Laugh, just a Jim Lee cover there. So this is like the small window. I didn't collect comics. This is when the Joker's Last Laugh came out. So I would love to get this whole run eventually because if nothing else, they had some phenomenal covers. Like I think they had Brian Boland, as you can see here, Jim Lee. They had a lot of cool artists working on these at least covers at the time. So I'd like to go back and get the Joker's Last Laugh stuff. I was surprised this was $1.50 because I like to upcharge on these sometimes. It does have a little bit of warping from maybe some moisture damage or something like that, but I got a Transformers issue 3, so it's not every day you see a Spider-Man crossover with the Transformers book. And I think I read somewhere that this is technically the second appearance of the black suit costume. I don't know how true that one is, but it would have to be definitely, one of those earlier black costume appearances. But this is one of those ones, if I see it, I pick it up. It's just a cool issue to have in the collection. More cool issues to have are obviously upper number G.I. Joes. So I've been kind of tripping over these lately. It's been awesome. So all my life I wanted to really get the G.I. Joes. And last year I've had really good luck getting this the G.I. Joe run filled up. So this is G.I. Joe 140 where they actually start to cross over with the Gen 2 Transformers. So that's just awesome. You get, your two main bad guys of the 80s all on the same cover. So very awesome there. I got a nice little run of Brian Boland Wonder Woman's. So I got the Wonder Woman issue 0 newsstand. So just a bunch of cool ones there. Not the key ones, unfortunately, but still nice cover. So there's issue 91. So there you go. We got issue 97 with a Joker crossover, it looks like there. So very cool. Get a nice Poison Ivy cover on issue 94. And I'm sorry, these are out of order, but I think that's a very nice cover there. 92. I think that was it for the Wonder Womans. I'm not sure why I picked this up. Just thought it was kind of neat. We got Magic #1 from I think it was a 4-issue Magic miniseries. Yeah, it does say 4-issue on it. Great. So you get Storm and Ilyana Rasputin in the same book. So nice copper stuff right there. Shout out to Bueller and Great Legend. The only reason I bought this book is I was just thinking about them. It's an X-Men. I don't know what this, if it's a reprint or what it is, but it's a Taco Bell exclusive comic. I've never seen or heard of a Taco Bell exclusive comic. So as soon as I saw this, it's like I knew I had to have it. So, you know, Yokiro Taco Bell. So there you go. So I decided while I was getting my food promotional comics, why not get the Pizza Hut exclusive X-Men? So you get some nice Rogan Gambit cover action there. So there you go. I think this is part of that Pizza Hut reader program they had in the 90s. I had to do that in grade school all the time. So gotta love you some Pizza Hut personal pan pizzas. Going back to G.I. Joe real quick. Found a G.I. Joe 118. Once again, it was pretty much anything over 100. It's a little tougher to find just because they didn't print a lot of these. It felt like that, you know, just in the early 90s, you know, everyone was kind of out of the G.I. Joe scene and into Power Rangers and stuff like that. So Marvel had the license. They just kept making the books until, you know, I think issue 155, and that was it. So anything over 100, really, I usually end up picking up. And we got G.I. Joe issue 124. This is the last G.I. Joe I picked up last week. So once again, just a nice upper number for G.I. Joe. And the last thing I got at the half-price books is I found this Action Comics issue 30, but for some reason they were selling a signed one by Greg Pak and Aaron Cuter. So you don't find a double signed book too often for $1.50. And I do recognize those signatures. Those look pretty legit to me because I've met both of these gentlemen previously. So those look pretty, you know, pretty legit SIGs. So I figured why not go ahead and pick it up for $1.50. So that was my half-price books haul for the week. All right, let's go ahead and get back into the chat, see what you guys are talking about, and see what is going on and who has joined us. Looks like you guys are saying hi to each other. We got John's Comics with Kids in the chat. I know he just got done running a successful contest, so thank you so much for that now non-secret contest, John. And I think he's going to do some upcoming work for the Comic Corps perhaps next week, next Wednesday. There's a tentatively titled show idea floating around, so we'll see who appears on that. And I think he's doing a Lost review or retrospective with Comics with Bueller, so I'm really looking forward to that because I love me some Lost. So I definitely watched that as it was originally airing and really like that show. We got Jeff Comic 813 in the chat. How's it going, Jeff? Everyone make sure to check out Jeff's channel because he is new to me, so I'll definitely be checking him out later. And then we have RLM Comics and Collectibles. How's it going, RLM? Glad you could make it into the chat. Poor man says, Legend should know all about those Taco Bell exclusives. And oh, wow, Uncanny Kyle Walker says he's never seen that X-Men book. And that's rare because he knows him some X-Men. So definitely glad to have that book in the collection. We got, how did I miss him? We got Silver Age Dave in the chat. What's going on, Silver? I'm glad you can make it. And then we got John. He's saying Thursday night, 7 Pacific is the Bueller Lost show. So definitely check that out. I know because there's a lot of good stuff going on this Thursday too. And I have to close at work. So I'm probably going to have to watch every single Thursday show on the Rewind, or I'm just going to have to stay up really late, I suppose. All right, so next thing I'll do, I'll go ahead and get into tonight's topic because we're pretty much at that halfway point. So I'm running out of topics, I'll be 100% honest. So I decided just to throw one out there. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe you guys could, throw your picks into the chat and we can read them out. You guys can have better picks than we. But I figured I'd just talk about 5 stories I wouldn't mind seeing adapted to either like a TV show, a big screen movie, or in like a DC animated feature, something like that. So I just picked out 5 things to talk about real quick. Most of them are hardcover, so Got a nice big healthy stack in front of me here. So the first one I decided to pick is formerly known as the Justice League. As you can see here, there's a lot of characters that, between, the Flash Arrowverse on the CW, the DCEU, the Timverse, the Batman Justice League Unlimited universe, and all that. There's plenty of characters on here that they have not really used a lot of yet. Specifically, these two gentlemen right here. I know Boosters, he's made some appearances, and even Elongated Man, he's on the Flash now. But it's not really our best version of Elongated Man, we all know. And then, we'll see what happens with Mary Marvel. And then Captain Atom was in the Timverse quite a bit. But you never really saw this team together. And you could almost add, like up here, just imagine Guy Gardner's stupid face right there. So I just think of that Detroit era league because when I started reading comics, this was like one of my fun favorite teams when I first started collecting because they just took the Trinity out of the Justice League and put it because they were in like their own title every single week. You had 4 or 5 Batmans a month. You had 4 or 5 Supermans a month. So there's really no point in putting those characters in Justice League, in my opinion, when they're having to cover 5 storylines on their own. You just put them in a 6 storyline. So I always enjoyed, your Detroit era league with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. I mean, that's the main movie I need right there. You could do a first movie or like, a cartoon DC exclusive streaming service movie with just those two, and then do your sequel movie, add Elongated Man, Captain Atom, Guy Gardner, Mary Marvel, Fire and Ice into that, and then you got a nice little series going of movies. So if you guys aren't familiar with this read as well, this is kind of around the time Identity Crisis came out. They killed off Sue Dibney, which is, she's right up here. And, a lot of these characters, especially after Countdown, he gets crossed off the list. Elongated Man, he pretty much got crossed off the list once 52 came out. Even though he had a good run in 52, he pretty much kicked the bucket right after that. And then Fire and Ice, they were gone because of things. So really, the creative team behind the 90s book got together. You got Keith Giffen, you got J.M. DeMatteis, you got Kevin McGuire. They just kind of came together and decided they're going to do like a one-off mini-series, just have fun with the team because they're not being used in the main books anyway. And that's what they did. So I highly recommend this. It's just a fun read. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And then you get some fun, C and D level characters in it. And who doesn't love some, Booster and Blue, 2 of my favorites together, especially. Next up, my next pick is Kingdom Come. I don't know why this hasn't been adapted into something at all since it came out. I think just, a lot of people might look at it as the real star of this book is your Alex Ross painted art, which is great, obviously. As a kid, I was like, man, why can't like a cartoon look like, the awesome Alex Ross art on this? But, I understand why now, obviously. But I think, the Mark Waid story really holds up very strongly in Kingdom Come. And I'd like to see one of those DC animated movies about Kingdom Come because they've done a lot of other of their own properties already. Like they just got doing the Reign of Superman. Obviously, the Death of Superman before that. They've done basically every Batman thing under the window. You had Batman Year One, The Dark Knight Returns, Killing Joke. I mean, they've pretty much done all the Batman stuff. Obviously, they've done pretty much one for everybody else too. So why not do Kingdom Come? Just tell that nice Elseworld story. And I just get that out of the way. I would actually go out and buy the Blu-ray if they did a Kingdom Come one. I don't buy too many Blu-rays anymore. So I think this is absolutely right for picking if you were making a DC animated movie. If I was one of their executives, like, make this a movie. We've made everything else already, and people will love this movie. So I definitely recommend this as a read, obviously. It's the I'm not gonna say post-apocalyptic future, but just a bleak future for our DC heroes. Is almost like, they read a little bit of Watchmen, based that, tweak that a little bit into the DC universe, and add the future to it, and you kind of get Kingdom Come with all kinds of crazy new versions of your characters. They're like your 4th and 5th generation versions at that point, and obviously you see Hal Jordan's pretty dang old there. So I think this would be a great movie. I would go out and buy that immediately. Sorry. Let's before I get into pick number 3, I want to see if you guys got any suggestions into the chat. Tacoma says DMZ. I have not read that one, but I've heard that was pretty good. John's Comics with Kids had a good one. I don't know why I didn't think of that. He said he would love to see 100 Bullets TV series on HBO. I absolutely agree. Definitely need some 100 Bullets in the the TV world for sure, and especially in this realm we're in, where Walking Dead's like your #1 TV show on television. I don't know if it still is or not, but you add the Game of Thrones type production, and you can get a dang good show out of that. And you guys are still talking about 100 Bullets. Comics Miss Explained says Kingdom Come is the greatest of all time. Yeah, it's definitely up there, man. Probably, me and Chad were talking about Kingdom Come and Elseworld stories. I think that might be the best Elseworld story, period. And Discovery Bay saying Prodigy looks like it's made for TV. Yeah, that Magic Order, I agree. I think, I feel like Millar sat on those for a minute until the Netflix deal dropped. He's like, all right, I'm going to make these stories now, and then we're going to immediately rush those into the Netflix Miller World deal. Even though Reborn's probably going to be the first one from what I've heard. All right, so pick number 3. I think this is already in production for something, but I don't know the details, or if it is, or if it's. I think Amazon Prime. I just kind of remember that after I hit live and what pick, but I don't care. I'm still gonna pick it anyway. We got Invincible by Robert Kirkman. This thing is an epic. I think it was like ran for 155 issues or somewhere around that. But I believe there's actually a cartoon coming out for this on Amazon Prime. So hopefully that's true. But nonetheless, I would love to see, the whole Viltrumite Empire be explored, and you get Invincible and all that stuff. So I think this would absolutely be a great pick for a cartoon. And you guys can confirm or deny that the fact that that's going to be a cartoon on Amazon. But I just kind of remember that after I hit live. So I guess I should have picked another 5th one. But oh well, we'll stick with Invincible because I feel very strongly about the comic and the success it could have. So I'll go ahead and get my next pick because it doesn't exist right now, as far as I know. We got Animal Man. So some of you guys might be saying, like, how in the world would you adapt Animal Man to anything besides a comic book? And I don't know the answer to that, to be honest, but I just want to see my boy Buddy Baker in something. Like, I don't think he's been passed by so many times. Oh, I feel like at this point there's almost a rights issue with Buddy and Animal Man. Like he's been in unless there's if Buddy Animal Man has been in something, please let me know, because I don't think he was in the Bruce Timm universe. He's definitely not in the DCEU. He's definitely not in the CW Arrowverse. So I'm not sure why they haven't plucked Animal Man and decided to use him for anything at all, even as like a dumb C-list character on Smallville back in the day. He's literally been used for nothing, and especially in this Grant Morrison run, he's an excellent character. He's got a family. You really get to know his wife and kids. They're great characters too. He has a cool look, in my opinion. I love that like leather jacket over goofy looking tights. And I think, especially in today's world, if you will, I think Animal Man, he'd be a great character to utilize right now for a TV series. I'm not saying go after this exact Grant Morrison run, because it breaks every fourth wall toward the third act of it, and it'd pretty much be near impossible at that point to recreate on television. I guess they could always go watch a show like Legion on FX if they wanted to take notes on how to approach something like that. But I can't believe that Buddy Baker has not made the leap to the small screen or the big screen at this point. So honestly, these are in no particular order, but if I had to pick a number 1, this would probably be a number 1. Like I said, I'm not saying go after the whole the wannabe storyline at the beginning and then turn it into the psycho pirate thing that happens in here. I just want a good solid Animal Man anything at this point, because I really enjoy the character. Besides like Hal Jordan and Connor Kent, Buddy Baker's probably like my 3rd favorite DC guy. So definitely would love to see anything Animal Man on my airwaves. And before I get to my last one, I do want to get into the chat once again, because you guys are throwing down suggestions. Steve and Spock had a great one. He says Lobo. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind seeing a Lobo one-off of some sort. They at least decide to utilize Lobo in the new Young Justice show on the DC streaming app, he had one episode where he was pretty menacing. The Midwest Comic Man had a great pick as well. He says he's holding out for an R-rated Craven's Last Hunt someday. Yeah, I just recently read Craven's Last Hunt. It lived up to the hype. It is a very good read, and that'd be one thing if Marvel was as strong with their animated game as DC. I would love to at least see that version. But yeah, live action R-rated Craven's Last Hunt would be amazing. Ruben says Sandman would be cool. Yeah, we'll change that to my 5th pick instead of Invincible, because I know Sandman's been in talk since like the 90s, and Neil Gaiman just keeps saying, no, you guys don't know what you're doing. You're going to ruin it. We're not doing Sandman. Wash, rinse, repeat. So maybe one day when Neil Gaiman's super old, he'll finally give in and be like, yeah, just make it. I like money. But for now, Neil Gaiman, he's not making squat for Sandman. But that would be cool to see somewhere down the line. And it looks like we've got Prowler 671 in the chat. How's it going, Prowler? Oh, Jeff Comics 813 had a good pick. He says Southern Bastards. Yeah, that'd be pretty legit to see on the big screen. Or and then Tacoma says ElfQuest animated. I have not read one ElfQuest comic ever, so I'm going to have to take your word on that, Tacoma. All right, you guys can probably guess my last pick at this point. This is something I've talked about previously. Chew. I don't know. Once again, it kind of goes with the whole Animal Man thing. I can't believe, in the world we live in now, where everything's being optioned and TV shows are being made left and right. Same thing for movies. They haven't made a Chew animated anything. I think Lehman and Gilroy almost had a deal made with, I think, either Showtime or Stars. And then at the end, it just fell through. I think they still got some money from it, lucky for them. But for some reason since, there's been no talks about making Chew anything from what I know. But I would love to see an animated Chew series just because it's such a unique and individual universe that Lehman and Gilroy have built in this. I almost even put Farmhand on the sorry, I'm 40 minutes in. I can't talk anymore. All right. I almost put Farmhand on the list as well, but it's only 5 issues in. But I think it's going to be a great run on Farmhand. But for now, I just want to pick Chew. But yeah, if you guys haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And I got to show off the sketch that Gilroy did for me inside my hardcover here, which he did inside every one of my Omnivore editions. So there you go. All right, Tacoma says there's definitely been talks for it. The guy who played Glenn on Walking Dead was going to play Tony. Yeah, I think going back to Invincible, I think I just read that same guy was going to voice Invincible. So that could be a good pick. But yeah, I hope they do something with Chew somewhere down the line. And it's an extremely good story. But honestly, the basis for this whole topic at the end of the day was because this one just got optioned and greenlit. So we're going to get Y the Last Man series next year. Unfortunately, we got to wait another full year for it. I think it launches February 2020. But yeah, I'm so happy we're finally going to get that Y the Last Man. I don't have to put that on these goofy type of lists anymore. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little segment, and keep putting in your picks and put your picks in the comments afterwards if you guys are watching it on the rewind. And then liking the covers 4963 says Lazarus. Yeah, I thought they were doing something with Lazarus. But that would definitely be a strong series once that happens. And then Brett Hessart says Extremity. Yeah, I've read a couple issues of Extremity, and it was pretty solid. Stay Puff says, I'm going to reread Y the Last Man and really love that book. Yeah, I was almost thinking, unfortunately, it's not coming out this year, but I was kind of wanting to do a feature on my channel eventually when that show launches. I'm just going to re-review all of those hardcovers eventually, but I guess that's a year out now, so we'll see if I'm still doing this 1 year from now. All right, so I got about 15 minutes left here. I want to go ahead and get into some auction previews. So I think I remember to put All About Comics link in the description below. If not, I will definitely do it after I upload this. But tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, kind of around this time, it's about 25 hours from now, we'll be having an auction hosted by JP on the All About Comics channel. So the usual suspects will be there. So myself, JP, Tacoma Comics, Whodat Comics and Movies will be there. And I think Drew Manchute. I'm not sure if we're going to have any other people in there. I don't know if GPAP's going to be back, but it'd be cool if we get GPAP again. I know he was on there 2 weeks ago, so we'll see who else turns up. But they're going all kind of like, I know Drew, he's got some great books. Hudat's got some great books. I haven't seen what the other two guys are bringing to the table yet, so I figured kind of like I did 2 weeks ago, I'll show you guys, what I'm going to auction off tomorrow, and I'll kind of give some spoilers on the any stacker books I may have, because I want to thank you guys for watching this show. But first, we got Nerd versus Fat in the chat, and he says, not sure if it's been mentioned, but plastic could be interesting. Yeah, I was almost thinking that, and I haven't read it yet, but from what I've heard about sex criminals, that would make a hilarious Showtime style show, basically. So that's definitely on my to-read list. All right, so my auction preview items. I got like a buy it now or two. I think the first one I was going to put up, I think this will be a buy it now for me. I know everyone loves this Marvel Age 41, that cool Stan Lee photo cover. And I think I'm going to just do a buy it now of $40 plus $7 shipping on that, because I have to ship everything priority because they're comic books. But I was also going to throw in Marvel Age number 90. This one's pretty dang beat up, newsstand, but it's a preview of the Todd McFarlane Torment storyline. So it's just kind of a cool supplement, in my opinion, to this other comic. So I'll probably just be throwing this up for $40. Buy it now, plus shipping. So if anyone's looking for that, let me know. All right. So, but the auctions, and some of these I paid a few bucks for, and I really don't like losing money. So we're going to have a little high starting price on this lot here. But if you guys know anything about the J. Scott Campbell store, those books aren't cheap. So I figured I really like these books, but I got a lot of these already. So I figured I'd put up a few just in case anyone out there has not had the opportunity to get some J. Scott Campbell store variants. So I got the Phoenix Resurrection. We got the new X-Men Jean variant. So love me some Grant Morrison, Jean Grey era there. We got the 90s Jean Grey variant. And then we've got the all-new X-Men Jean Grey variant right there. And I was going to do these starting at $60 tomorrow, because I had to use a coupon code to get these for $20 a piece. So pretty much I'm just putting them up for the discounted price I got them for. So I'll probably be throwing those up tomorrow. And then I was thinking, if there is any action at all on those tomorrow, I might go ahead, throw the Art Germ variant on there. So if it gets up a few bucks, I might go ahead and pop that in there. And then if it keeps going, because I know some people love some J. Scott Campbell, I may throw in the Age of Ultron Midtown J. Scott Campbell variant. So we'll see what happens with those. And the next lot I got in my hand, I was probably going to just do this one for $20, because I really don't need extra copies of the Venom Lethal Protector, but I found like a nice deal on one and figured I'd just extend it to the community. So I got Venom Lethal Protector number 1. Does have a few imperfections on it. I don't even know if they show up on camera, but if you're looking really close, it seems like the foil's starting to break away just a hair, kind of right there. Other than that, I think it presents extremely well. I always like the little newsstand box, Spidey going, oh no. So I always like that. Then I got issue 2 in the lot. Issue 3. And yes, it does have the issue 4. So I know people are specking on this one quite a bit going into the Venom movie last October. So that'll be a part of it. Issue 5. And probably the only one that's kind of beat up in the whole lot is issue 6. I don't know if whoever owned this lot originally just hated the conclusion of the storyline, but it looks like, yeah, it's pretty ticked off all up and down it. So I do have to premise that. But I figured for, I'd try to offer up somebody a deal on Lethal Protector. I'd probably start at $20 plus the 7 shipping if anyone out there is still looking for a Lethal Protector set. I did not see any for that price on eBay. I figured I'd just go ahead and throw it up there for $20 since I got a solid deal on it myself. Let's see what questions you guys are asking. Comic Spectre says he's looking forward to the auction. Tacoma Comic says Saga number 1 3rd print. 2 early 2nd prints after that. I don't know if that's he's selling that Saga number 1 3rd print. That'd be a pretty nice book to own right now. Any printing of that. He says he's also auctioning First Miles, First America Chavez, and actually, if anyone's looking for a First America, I think I've got an extra copy of that too. First full Kamala Khan, First Monica Rambeau is Captain Marvel, and full Reborn set. So Tacoma's got himself some nice stuff. He's got to show off too. And Comic Spectre's asking, did you get the Detective 1000 Art Germ? I snagged 2 sets. I did not. Is that on his? Yeah, I think that was sold on his website when I was looking at it that one day. So I did not get a chance to buy one of those. RLM says those are great books. Thank you. Eddie, the comic guy. How's it going? I'm glad Eddie hopped in because it reminded me to plug the talk about auctions. I believe the New York Warriors are having their auction in a little over an hour from now. So every single Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, New York Warriors auction. Like I always show off. I think I still got the book up there. A couple of weeks ago, I got this off Erod. Phenomenal deal. So if you guys like good deals, not only check out JP's auction tomorrow, but check out the New York Warriors tonight. So back into the lots. I still got more lots. So we might, I think the average we're looking to go through per auction is 3 lots per panelist, basically. I went ahead and put together 4 plus some buy it nows, just in case, someone doesn't show up or it goes very quickly or people are opening their wallets or what have you. And they're all in the, pretty much the same short boxes. So I just started digging more stuff out. But I know the community, they love these books here. So I decided just to pull them out and offer them up to someone who wants them more than me. We got Psylocke #1. I believe this is the start of a 4-issue miniseries. You get some cool David Finch art right there. So I know everyone loves that cover there. So there you go. Psylocke #1. Thank you, Focus, for that. So you can't have a Psylocke #1 without throwing X-Men Sword of the Braddocks. I believe this is the Alex Garner cover. So just a nice looking, awesome cover there. So I know everybody's always kind of looking for those as a set. So there's that. And then I'm starting this at $30 just because I had to pay $30 to get this book eventually. This is Astonishing X-Men #1. It's from the Charles Soule run, but this is the J. Scott Campbell store exclusive. So this is actually a C cover. So originally, get this, you had to buy this whole set of A, B, and C just to get this one book. But luckily, I just happened to be on his store website one day when they were having a singles sale. But yeah, these C covers, they still weren't selling for that cheap. So I think I'm going to start those 3 books. $30 is a set, $7 priority shipping. And if the action gets hot and heavy on that, I think I'm going to go ahead and probably throw this one in too. Like I said, if the bids keep going up, this is Uncanny X-Men 258, the not for resale edition. Again, nice crisp Bacalo cover. I believe this was originally packaged with a Marvel Legends Psylocke figure. And this thing, it doesn't look like the little kid who destroyed his figure to get this even read it. So it's in pretty nice condition. So you don't see these action figure exclusive comics floating around, and especially one with a completely different cover than it was originally published. So I think, if the bids keep going up on that, I may throw this in too. So once again, if it keeps going above $30 and you guys are interested in that lot, I might slap that on there tomorrow. And then the last lot, I just kind of threw a random like Wolverine X-Men lot together. Here is Wolverine 312. I think I'm going to start this one at $30 as well tomorrow. You get Wolverine 312. This is a variant edition. I could not find this cover hardly online at all. I think the only eBay listing I saw for it said like it was a 1 in 35, which I found was extremely weird. I don't know why it would be 1 in 35, but that's the only ratio I could find on how this variant was distributed. But nonetheless, it's a hard to find J. Scott Campbell cover. So for you J. Scott completionists, good luck finding this cover besides this auction, I guess. But I'm going to go ahead and put this one up. But other than that, I can't imagine Wolverine 312 back in the day selling that many copies to have many stores have this variant. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. And then since I like to read, I'm throwing X-Force #1 in with it because I have plenty of copies of this. I want to pass this to somebody else. I think it's a nice book. And it's, once again, I talked about Clayton Crane earlier. This is the start of the awesome Clayton Crane X-Force run. I had multiple copies of this I found. So you get X Factor #5. This is the cameo appearance of Apocalypse. This book has seen better days, unfortunately. It needs a pressing and cleaning badly if you guys are into that sort of thing, but it still presents fairly decent, actually, looking at it on the camera there. But there's a little bit of off-whiteness going on the top there and on the bottom. But still a solid book to have if you don't have it in the collection already. And I figured why not keep finding this in the wild. I'm going to throw it into X-Force #2. second appearance of Deadpool. Pretty solid copy there. Once again, tomorrow on JP's auction, I'll be starting this off $30 plus 7 shipping. So thought that was a really nice lot. And I just figured, why not? If anyone needs them, I probably got a copy or two of this I could sell for $10 plus the 7 priority shipping as well. If there's anyone who doesn't have a Walmart near them, I figured I'd just put these out as, buy it nows as well. So this is Superman issue 7, 100-page giant. I guess there was a controversial story by Tom King printed as a part of this where you get to see like Lois just obliterated over and over again just because like Clark is having nightmares off world basically, and what's going on when he's not near Lois. So I guess, parents got mad because they're buying these for their kids, and it gets pretty, gritty. I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I got a couple other copies. I figured I usually with these giant sizes buy 1 or 2 to pass them along because not everybody can get to a Walmart. Yeah, Steven Spock says she gets burned. So yeah, that sounds pretty terrible. So if anyone's looking for a Superman giant size number 7, hit me up. But we'll have that tomorrow if anyone wants it. But beyond that, I think that's about all I got to talk tonight, because I can't talk apparently anymore. So we'll go over the chat one more time. We got, once again, Eddie Account Guy. He says, Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield. So there you go, the Hounds of Justice. Everyone's just kind of saying, hi, each other. Prowler 671 likes the Psylocke booty cover. Yeah, who doesn't? And Comics Miss Explains says, I'm not a fan of Lois, so maybe I should pick that one up. LOL. Yeah, there's probably still a couple. It took me 3 Walmarts to find any of them, so I don't know if they're being pulled off of shelves or what's going on with this issue. But yeah, they're already getting scarce, so they're just kind of disappearing off the shelves already. And then finally, we got Pope Cerebus the First saying hi to Prowler. What is going on, Pope Cerebus? But I want to thank you guys for joining me. We're about 1 hour here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with last plugs. So once again, auction tomorrow, JP All About Comics channel, 9 p.m. Eastern. Check it out if you guys like those lots. Please show up, throw up some bids, buy it now. It's kind of the same thing. If anyone wants to just buy it now, let us know, I suppose. But from what I've seen in our chat and the previews, there's going to be a lot of nice books as a part of this. So definitely be there tomorrow if you guys like the auction scene. Once again, I know the New York Warriors are getting ready to go live here in an hour with their own auction, so check that out as well. And then Friday, we got Comic Core, so 10 p.m. Eastern Friday nights. You never know what's going to happen on the Comic Core. So check us out then. Should be another fun show this weekend. And I'm going to try to start on Sundays, because at least this Sunday I have off. Hopefully I'm not feeling sick again this Sunday, but I'm going to start doing a segment on my channel called Signature Sundays. I didn't name my last video that because it was on a Monday, but I think that's what I'm going to try to achieve from here on out. So basically, if you guys check the link down below, I made a video yesterday if you guys missed it. I'm trying to chronicle every signature I have in my collection. So my kind of goal, I kind of want to do like one big first episode. So I try to get at least 50 books. I think I ended up getting 59 books with 80 signatures, and it only covered boxes 1, 2, and 3. So who knows how many I'm going to end up with. So my first 3 short boxes, I counted 80 signatures already. So if you guys like the signatures and stuff I show off on this channel, please go ahead and check out that video as well. It's a lot of fun to do, and I'm slowly rebagging all of my signature comics as I'm going too. So there's a little bit of work being put into this whole thing. But had a lot of fun doing it. Glad to finally get in the boxes and rebag some of those nasty, gross, awful comic book bags I've got. I pulled out a stack about that big, just clearing out some of that stuff. Tacoma says, help me figure out how to make my stuffed boxes for the auction. Short video just dropped on Instagram, so yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Tacoma says, we should stealth sign Woodard's books for him. Yeah, that works too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think that's all the plugs I got for the night. And then once again, one last plug, Comic Spectre. He's in the chat, at least right there for me, probably over there or somewhere there for you guys. But, he had this awesome A-OK for me. It's probably either getting slabbed or going on my wall, that's for sure. So once again, big thanks to Comic Spectre for this awesome Shredder Goes to Hell Clayton Crane variant. And with that, Sting, he's in the Raptors again, and he's getting ready to come down. The NWO's coming to ringside. We'll keep the